Once upon a time, long ago, in the green valleys of Africa where the sun rose golden over the hills and the drums spoke in the evenings, there lived a girl named Nambi. She was beautiful, her skin smooth like polished ebony, her eyes wide and shining like the moon on water. Every man in the village admired her, and every woman envied the softness of her face. But behind her beauty hid a truth that only the old women whispered about when they sat weaving mats under the shade of the big baobab tree. Nambi is too soft, they said. Her hands are smooth like the hands of a princess, but not because she is royal. It is because she does not walk. You see, Nambi's mother, Alaro, had raised her alone. Her father died when she was just a little child, and Alaro, fearing that the world was too hard, shielded her daughter from every burden. While other girls carried water from the stream, Nambi sat under the mango tree plaiting her hair. While others bent over the gardens, sweating as they dug the earth, Nambi only sang songs, her voice sweeter than the flute. Alaro would hush her neighbors when they scolded. "Leave her," she said. "She is my only daughter. She is my joy. Let her enjoy life while I am alive." So Nambi grew up with no skill in cooking, washing, or farming. She was like a flower that bloomed only for beauty, not for use. But time, as it always does, moved forward. One evening, when the moon was round and bright, Alaro fell ill. Her breaths became shallow, her voice weak. Before dawn, she was gone, her body laid to rest among the ancestors. The people mourned, but they said to each other, "What will become of Nambi now?" Not long after, a strong young man named Okello came from a neighboring village. He was known for his hard work and wealth, his farm stretched wide, his granaries full, his cattle many. When his eyes fell upon Nambi, he was captured by her beauty. He asked for her hand in marriage, and though the elders shook their heads, saying, "She does not know the ways of a wife," Okello's heart was already decided. So, with drums beating and ululations filling the air, Nambi became Okello's bride. At first, Nambi thought marriage was only about wearing beautiful beads, eating roasted meat at feasts, and walking proudly beside her husband in the marketplace. But when the feasting ended and the visitors left, the real weight of marriage fell upon her shoulders. One early morning, while the mist still hugged the earth, Okello said to her, "My wife, rise and cook. The sun is climbing. I must go to the garden, but first I need food for strength." Nambi's heart thudded. Cook. She had never boiled even water before. She rose slowly, pretending confidence, and entered the kitchen hut. She stared at the firewood, the clay pot, the millet flour. She touched them as if they were foreign objects. When she tried to light the fire, the smoke choked her and tears poured down her face. The porridge burned black at the bottom of the pot. When Okello tasted it, he frowned. "Wife, what is this? Did you mistake ashes for food?" Nambi lowered her eyes in shame. That day, Okello went to the garden on an empty stomach. The next day, he asked her to wash his clothes. She took the dirty wrappers to the stream, dipped them in water, rubbed them between her palms, but instead of becoming clean, they tore at the seams. Okello returned to find his best tunic ruined. And when he asked her to weed the garden, she held the hoe awkwardly, blistering her hands within moments. The weeds seemed to laugh at her as they stood tall, untouched. Each failure weighed heavy on her heart. She remembered her mother's words, "You are my joy. Do not worry about work." But now her mother was gone, and she was left in a world that expected her to know what she did not. That night, as the crickets chirped and the owls hooted, Nambi sat alone in the kitchen hut. Tears streamed down her face. She felt helpless, ashamed, afraid that her husband would tire of her uselessness and send her back to her village in disgrace. Then, from deep within her sorrow, a thought rose like a whisper: Mama would know what to do. She closed her eyes and began to hum a tune she remembered from childhood. It was a lullaby her mother used to sing. "Mama, Mama, come. The night is long, the work is hard. Mama, Mama, come." As she sang, a strange stillness filled the hut. The fire crackled lower, the shadows lengthened. The air grew cold though the night was warm. Then she heard it, a faint sound, like feet brushing against dry leaves. Slowly, from the darkness of the corner, a figure began to take shape. Her breath caught in her throat. It was her mother. But not as she remembered her. This Alaro was pale, her eyes sunken, her body wrapped in a faded burial cloth. Yet her face still carried that familiar softness, and her voice, though hollow, was still tender. "My daughter," the spirit said, "why do you cry?" "Mama," Nambi sobbed, "I know nothing. They ask me to cook, to wash, to dig. But you never taught me. Help me, please." The spirit mother sighed, a sound like wind passing through dry reeds. "Oh, my child. I pampered you too much. But if you call, I will come." She lifted her shadowy hands and moved with a grace both eerie and beautiful. The pots scrubbed themselves until they shone. The torn clothes stitched together, smooth and clean. The garden weeds pulled themselves up, roots and all, leaving the earth neat and ready for planting. By the time the cock crowed, the kitchen was filled with the aroma of fresh porridge, the clothes were folded, and the garden lay tidy as if 20 women had worked all night. When Okello awoke and saw the wonders, he was astonished. "Wife, you have done marvelously. How quickly you have learned." Nambi smiled faintly but said nothing. Inside her heart, fear and relief wrestled like two wild animals. For she knew the truth, it was not she who had done the work. It was her dead mother.